The final days of the presidential race between Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton mark the end of President Obama's 8 years in office. It also marks the end of an era for Texas politicians who have taken on President Obama in court more than 40 times. They have tried to stop his policies on immigration, environmental regulations, overtime rules, and transgender rights. The cost to Texas taxpayers in the millions. Channel 2 investigator Robert Arnold breaks down the wins and the losses and tries to find out what's behind the legal fights.
From the environment to transgender issues to immigration, Texas is certainly not afraid to push back against federal regulations that come from the top.
If Texas could write in the briefs, don't mess with Texas, they would.
In fact, Texas sued the federal government at least 46 times since President Barack Obama first took office. Josh Blackman is a constitutional law professor at the South Texas College of Law.
I have little doubt that Texas believes that their interpretation of the Constitution is stronger than that of the presidency.
That sentiment was clear back in 2013 when Governor Greg Abbott was still Texas Attorney General Greg Abbott, speaking to the conservative group Freedomworks.
My job description has been simplified over the past 4 years because what I do is I go into the office, I sue the federal government, and then I go home.
But fighting the federal government isn't cheap. Records obtained by Channel 2 Investigate show taxpayers spent more than $6 million on these cases. What did we get? Records show 8 wins, 12 losses, 17 still pending, and 9 withdrawn. Blackman says that's not a bad average.
When you sue the government, you're playing against the House. You have House odds, and you're very likely going to lose.
Some of Texas's most high-profile wins includes blocking the president's executive order on immigration and the president's guidance to schools on transgender bathroom policies. Some of the losses include trying to stop the Affordable Care Act and the resettlement of Syrian refugees in the state.
The important thing is fighting the good fight, not necessarily winning.
Rice University political science professor Mark Jones says there is a tinge of politics to some of these lawsuits.
There's also political benefit from suing the federal government when that federal government is run by President Barack Obama. Part of the Republican playbook today is run as much against President Obama here in Texas as against your actual opponent. And it's been very successful in the general election.
Both Blackman and Jones say congressional deadlock on many issues leaves the door open for lawsuits when the president tries to enact new policy.
Unless the states are those bringing the suits, it's very difficult, if not impossible, for a lot of these issues to be resolved by the courts.
Both men also say there's always going to be a natural conflict between Republican leaders in a conservative state and Democratic leaders in the White House. If you'd like to get a look at the list of all the lawsuits Texas filed against the federal government, head to the Investigate section of click2houston.com. Robert Arnold, KPRC, Channel 2 News.